Hey everybody, I'm Dwayne Estes, Executive Director of the Southeastern Grasslands Initiative. And here it is, early February. I think everybody's looking forward to spring coming on. And as I'm enjoying this gorgeous weather, but it's cold out today in the 30s. And one of the things that we see this time of year are these bright green wheat fields here in southern Kentucky and parts of northwest middle Tennessee. And if you look right out here behind me, you can see that patch of brown. And that's an area where here in the Pennyroyal Plain ecoregion, that's a sinkhole depression. And in that depression, typically this time of year and through the early spring, these may actually be full of water. And so a lot of times the farmers in these regions, either they'll not plant that because they know it's going to get flooded and wet, or maybe they will plant it depending on the size of it. And then sometimes they might get lucky and the crops will grow just fine. And in other times of the year, maybe it'll be too ponded and too wet, and the crops that they try to plant there will die. So on this particular day, this one doesn't have water in it, but in a lot of years it might. But what I hear across the road is really, really kind of cool and encouraging. And I'm going to be quiet in a second, but out here in what is now a big cornfield that probably will have corn in again this year, maybe soybeans. You can see that big depression behind me. Well, that in some years, particularly when it's wet, would be full of water. It'd be a giant pond, maybe a few dozen acres in size. But today there's sandhill cranes all out there. And there's probably about 300 to 400, maybe 500 out there now. I'm gonna be quiet and let you see if you can listen to them. I don't know if you'll be able to see them or not. Make a very distinctive sound, and of course they're beautiful birds. Just really kind of cool. You know, we've got a couple of projects here with SGI in this particular ecoregion. One is at the Google property, which is a little bit to my south. Google's invested in us to plant 50 acres of prairie, and this is not far from that. I look forward to a day where we can do some large-scale prairie restorations that involve upland wetlands like this. Our team with SGI right now and our partnership with Quail Forever is working on a regional conservation partnership program grant, also with the American Bird Conservancy. And you know, going into this year, we've got a pretty sizable chunk of money to work with private landowners to restore wet grasslands and wet prairies. And that's what it's all for right there. It's for the birds, honestly. Things like sandhill cranes and so many other species they vitally depend on these open grasslands and in many cases open wet grasslands. I just look for a time when we can recreate these big prairie pothole wetlands here in southern Kentucky and northern Tennessee, and the prairie will encircle this recreated sort of prairie marsh, prairie pond. And I believe it's going to happen. And with you guys supporting us and continuing to follow SGI, we know it's going to happen. So anyways, I'm going to leave you guys. I'm chilling to death out here. It's super cold now. But I'm going to sit here and look at these birds through my binoculars and enjoy the day. And anyways, get out there while the weather's nice and do your own birding, and keep a watch out for the sandhill cranes out in this former prairie landscape. See you guys.